Hi there, welcome to my midweek video, my last from Cancun. I've been here nearly 2 weeks, and frankly, it's too long. It's way too long. A while back I said that I've been eating enough for a family of 4. I now believe I've eaten a family of 4, the equivalent in calories. I'm trying to be running every day, but it's so hot here. In fact, do you know what? I've just heard apparently it's hotter back there than it is here. And it seems like the stock market's melting. Small caps, illiquidity, as always in the summer. The old saying, go away in May, come back St. Ledger Day. It held true, of course, because years ago, apparently, fund managers and the money guys in the city didn't bother going to work over summer. Apparently, there's so much money. They made so much money in the winter that they let's take summer off. Let's go to the races. Come back after St. Ledger Day, and then we'll get back into it. And it's still a sort of ring of truth, or psychological truth anyway, rings true with that, where people tend to sort of trade less, and the volume gets weak. And I think market makers take advantage, mark some shares down, get some people selling, hopefully, and then they can make a quick profit. But the summer month can be tricky. So if you're an investor, not a problem. If you're a trader, it's even harder because you're going against the flow. You're trying to trade and trying to get spikes here and there, 5-10%. But listen, we're not dirty traders. We are honest investors. We invest in the companies we believe will be sustainable over the mid to long term. And like I said, my investment track record is there. I'll go over it towards the end of this video. And what I want to do is find companies valued below a 20 million market cap and will hopefully generate enough value to be valued 5-10 times that in 1 or 2, 3, 4 years time. And just hold on. Ideally, I just want to hold on forever, and in the end get paid a dividend, and then you can sort of top slice some of that and recycle that money and find another investment and put it into that. So the stocks I talk about are stocks I own, by the way. If you've not watched the video before, they're all small cap shares, pretty much sub 100 million market cap. Most of them are sub 20 million. That's where I think the value generation is, and they're all highly risky. But I use quality filters because there's a lot of dross. There's a lot of rubbish on AIM. That's the alternative investment market, and you will see a lot of people pumping this dross on Twitter, trying to sell you their shares. That's what traders do. Dirty traders. They want to sell you their shares. They'll pump a stock and sell you the shares. You buy them, they're selling. Investors not like that. They share the story. They want you to join them on the share register, if you've done your own research. By all means, if you like what you see in this video, hit that subscribe button, okay? There, it's not there, it's down below. But also, hit the bell, and you will be notified whenever I release a video. And by the way, below this video on YouTube, you'll see a little 2 words on YouTube saying show more. You'll see a little bit of introduction to the video below the video. Below that, you'll see show more. It'll expand that menu, and you'll see a load of other links that I've done in previous videos. So any company I mention, any company at all, I do the chart of right here. I've previously looked at more in depth as to why I've invested in them, okay? There's also lots of other links there. 10 lessons I've learned in small cap investing, how to set up a chart, my stock picking strategy, which these quality filters I say you have to look for. Like I said, very high risk small cap companies, but the potential for very high reward. But you have to instill a strategy, a discipline to avoid the rubbish. There's lots of rubbish out there that honestly will wipe out your capital if you're not careful. So I hopefully try and pick up some quality companies in these videos. In this video, by the way, I'm going to look at one company with news. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep it quite short because it's my last day here in Cancun. So I'm going to get this video out, and the next video update I'll do on Sunday will be back home. But first of all, one company update. Someone also asked me to look at TR1's or notifications, and this is when someone who's a significant shareholder notifies the company as to change in their holding. Now, I'll go into this in a little bit because the form, that's the trouble with investing. There's lots of terminology, there's lots of stuff that's more complicated than needs to be. So hopefully I'll try and go through a form you look at so you can work out if someone's acquiring shares or disposing of shares. And it's just a bit of practice. You have to look at these forms quite a few times to get used to them. But I'll go through a form, okay, and a real life example. So, first and foremost, I'll look with Polarean, POLX. I've covered this a bit recently, but they've recently done a placing. So they are at the moment 22 million market cap, all right, down 5%. And they're replacing 2.1 million. I mentioned this several times. I said, listen, there's several opportunities to get in here. The placing may be one where it may be discounted. It wasn't that discounted, which is good. That's a good thing, really. It shows the demand for the shares. Now, the companies that have to do massive discounted placings are basically companies that can't get a placing away. They find it hard to raise money. Either they haven't got institutional investors, or they go into sort of bucket shops of brokers where they have to offer some kind of massive discount in order for people to take risks on that stock, by putting up some money. And that's why the companies can't dictate the placing price. I see a lot of people out there saying, why did the company do it at this level? Because they have no choice. If you think you're investing in a quality company, right, and they have to do a massively discounted fundraise, they're probably not a quality company. It's probably not investment grade, okay? There's a good chance it's not. There's other complications to that. But the closer to the market value, the market price, a company get a placing away, okay, the more quality pretty much, or the more in demand that company is via investors. So there may be certain connections that certain companies have, institutional investors that will stump up cash because of a good relationship. But generally, if you see a company doing a massive discount, say I'm talking sort of, when I say massive, I'm talking sort of 20, 25, 30%. I've seen that kind of thing happen. If that happens, they're having issues raising money, and you've got to question why. Okay. Now, Polarean, it wasn't a massive discount. Like I said, they were at 19 pence. They raised 2.1 million at 18 pence. It was like 10% discount. And this stock is quite illiquid. It's not. There's a bit of a spread on it, so it's pretty much on the money. It wasn't a discount at all. So net proceeds will be used to provide additional support to the company's ongoing phase 3 clinical trials. Like I say, the video before last, I think I covered this and again before. But look below, and you'll see more information on Polarean. Some big milestones coming up, and that's phase 3 clinical trials. And they're not like, this is the most unrisky phase 3 I've ever seen. And I go into this because their machine is going up against a 40-year-old machine, which it's already proven to be better than anyway. And all they have to do is prove non-inferiority of data. So significant strengthening of the company's balance sheet ahead of completion of clinical trials, and funds will enable product launch planning and further development relationships with potential strategic partners. So this is what Richard Houlihan said, CEO. He said, we thank our shareholders for their support in this placing, which will enable the swift completion of enrolment for clinical trials via the addition of a third trial site at the University of Cincinnati. Yeah. Allows us to focus on our undivided attention on completion of the new drug application and submission following readout, and provide valuable resource for post-submission launch preparing and planning. We are now entering a crucial period in Polarean's development, and I look forward to providing our shareholders with further updates as appropriate. Yeah. So like I said, the background of placing was there. So primarily responds to strong demand from institutional and EIS and VCT investors. Secondly, the group incurred additional costs as a result of adding a third trial site at the University of Cincinnati. Like I said earlier. Sorry, I've just deleted something on my side. You can't see it. But yeah, I mean, this is looking good. It's going to plan. I mean, like I said, the second factor that could knock the share price was that Amphion is a major shareholder in the company. They got money issues, but I don't know. That's not a guaranteed though, because they could offload their shares to somebody else, So, all right. So, I do apologise. I'm really tired. I went out yesterday all day. We went on an island boat trip, and it was very good, but very long and in the sun. Anyway. The net proceeds of the placements will be used as follows: additional support for clinical trials, support preparation and submission of NDA following readout, to provide additional working capital to build new polarizers for future orders, and to support the preparation for market launch following submission of the NDA, a new drug agency, and development of the relationship with potential strategic partners. What I like about this, just going to the clinical trials. So they've got these clinical trials happening at the moment for phase 3. Okay, they haven't done all this work yet. I mean, they haven't gone through all the patients. They're still sort of getting enrollment, and they've got clinical now past 91.7% in lung transplant pathway and 68.8% in lung resection pathway. So there's two types of patient that test this on, okay? One is at 91% enrollment, then is at 68.8. Once they get this up to obviously 100% each, and they test these people, and they get the readout a few months later. But Q3 pretty much was when the full enrollment will happen, and I thought before the end of this year we'll know the result of the phase 3 studies. And so it's good to know about this. We may have quite a few months yet to go before this big sort of call comes out on the results of the phase 3. But it's good to get it early, because I think this will rise towards the end of enrollment. When they say we've got fully enrolled, I think the share price should rise towards that, in prediction of the share price going up on a positive readout. So the end of the third trial start, we know that. What I want to look at here, which I quite like, I'm encouraged by, and I bought some more shares here. I bought some more shares. As soon as this RNS came out, I bought some more shares. And why? This is why. Director participations in the placing. So Richard there, who was on the podcast on Vox with Anita, a subscriber, 445,000 placing shares, following mission. He now has, so basically he put 80 grand in of his own money in the placing. That's nice, isn't it, to know that? The CEO puts 80 grand in. He now holds 2.3%, which is worth just under £500,000 at 18 pence, probably closer to £500,000 at 20 pence, which they are 19 pence. So that's one of the quality filters I always look for. CEO of the company having a chunk of shares, but he's not the founder. He was brought in, but still he's up this. He's put money where his mouth is. Now I'll look at the shareholder register now, but I just want to go into this as well. This came out today. Exercise of warrants. Proprietary drug service combination product, announced it issued 1.3 million new ordinary shares parties following the exercise of warrants by John Siddall. Now, John Siddall is a supporter of the company. He was ex-president of the company, but he decided to step back and let the day-to-day running. So him and Bastian co-founded and helped put this off. So Bastian co-founded, but he was one of the early sort of, I suppose, leaders, managers, and presidents of this company. So he's a big supporter of the company. He's not going to start dumping his shares, warrants. He still owns, what does he own? 6.6% of the company. So he owns a fair chunk of stock. In fact, let's look at the shareholder register here. So you got Bastian there, who's Bastian. He's the founder, 12.2%. Amati, which is, did I go back there? Let me go back there. Amati also up there holding. Yeah, I didn't cover that. But in the fundraising there, Amity. Did I get that? Yeah. No, where was that? Oh, sorry. In the fundraise, Amity, institutional investor, also up there holding. So they're now 11%. I've got on the side there. I've adjusted the shares. Richard has gone up to 2.3%. It's a John Siddall, as you see there. It's got 6.2%. And so he's up to 6.6% now with the warrants, his exercise. So a tight register held by people who believe in the company and investors as well. Nukem as well. If you look at Nukem, 11.2%, the non-executive director, I think, of Polarean, or one of them, was also working for those guys when they're in the same kind of medical field, isotopes. So they hold that as well. That's very interesting. So I like that tight register held by some sticky investors there. All right. Okay, let's get on to the question. Can you explain a TR1 notification? All right. Essentially, when a significant shareholder buys or sells shares in a company, they have to notify the company if they increase or decrease the amount they hold, if they go over certain thresholds. All right. This is the official description. Under the disclosure and transparency rules, shareholders and holders of the financial instruments following the DRI, a person basically must notify the issuer of the percentage of its voting rights. What does voting rights mean? Voting rights based on shares. Most shares carry voting rights. That means you're allowed, if you're a shareholder, you're allowed to vote at the annual general meeting or any EGM or anything like that as a shareholder. That's your right as a shareholder, to sort of fashion the direction of the company in some way. You have some rights as that. So if you're a shareholder and your percentage of the entire issued share capital goes above a certain level, then you have to notify the company, or if it goes below a certain level, if you're above that threshold, initial threshold. So these are the thresholds, okay? So if you have more than 3% of the entire issued share capital of a company you bought, you have to notify the company, okay? And every time you go up 1 percentage point, you have to notify the company. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%, 3% there up. And also when you start coming back down, and once you get below 3%, you don't have to notify. So once you get below 3%, you start selling, you don't have to notify then below 3%, okay? I'm gonna have a quick look at a TR1 form, because this is a tricky bit that people get stuck with. And I was the same. When I started looking at these forms, I had no idea what they meant. They're so complex, and I still think they are complex, but I've just got used to it now because I've read so many. So let's have a look at one. Okay, here we are on the Vox page here, Vox Markets here, main page here. So let's click on, this is my watch list here, this is my shares own. Let's click on Safe Stay and news right there. I got quite a slow internet connection out here, of course, in Cancun. But you can see here, holdings in company. Now, this is the type of TR1 you'll get. This is a significant shareholder informing SafeStay. They've increased or decreased their holding in the company. It's called total voting rights. Shares always carry voting rights. That means you can vote, like I said. So let's click on this. This is on the 26th of June. And I've covered this in a previous video. It's about them having a seller in the company, also holding the share price back. So let's scroll down here. And you've got TR1 standard form for notification of major holdings. So number one is identity of the issuer, underlying issue of the existing shares. So that's SafeStay. They obviously own the stock. That's the issuer of the stock. Okay, scroll down. Next one is number two, reasons for the notification. It's usually this one, acquisition or disposal of voting rights. Basically, have they acquired or sold shares? I don't see why they've done two separate boxes. But there's also acquisition or disposal of financial instruments. I don't know what they are, but and also some other things that could have ramifications on this, a change in the breakdown of voting rights. But it's normally this disposal or acquisition of voting rights. Okay, across in the box there. First and foremost, number three, details of person subject to notification. So its name, it's Mighton Group, an institutional investor, of course, right there, and this is where they're from, England. Next important bit really is date on which the threshold was crossed or reached. So the threshold here we'll see below is 5%. The date they actually sold these shares, they're saying, was the 19th, and they notified the company, SafeStay, on the 20th, okay, of June. So they sold on the 19th, notified, or they crossed the threshold on the 19th by selling, and they notified SafeStay on the 20th. So this is quite an important box here. This tells you exactly how much they pretty much sold. Number 7, total positions of persons subject to notifications obligation. It's quite tricky, but this box here, as you see, the resulting situation. So this is where they are right now. This is where they were previously. Okay, so across this level, total voting rights attached to shares total A8. So essentially, don't worry about that one there. Always look at the total. Okay, so now they've gone down to 4.86%, and this is the total amount of shares here SafeStay have issued out there in total issue, so 64 million, all right, and might now own 4.86% of this, all right. Now, if you want to know how much that is, how many shares that is actually, then it should be in box 8 here, and so they got number of voting rights, direct and indirect. So they got 3.1 million, pretty much. That's how many shares, and that is percentage. Look, so that's number of shares. That's percentage. So that's 4.86%. All right, and like I said, that 3.1 is 4.86%. It's 4.86% of that. All right. And that's pretty much it. You will see sometimes other boxes here, like you see information in relation to persons. It's a breakdown of their holding. So Mighton have two kinds of funds here. One is the LF Mighton UK Smaller Companies Fund. One is the MI Select Managers actually. So they had 12% in that and 0.7% in that one. But together they make up 4.86. So that's the important thing. But like I said, going back up, box 7 and 8 pretty much is quite important. Also the dates. I'd say it's also worth looking at all this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the important things, right? But this is where you'll see what percentage left the company has. So obviously, this was previous to them, 9.73%. That's what they held before they sold down. This is what they sold down now. Okay, so you should see really, if they get down below 4%, they should say issue another one again, and then at 3%, if they go below that, they don't need to issue when they're below 3%. Okay, if they do it 1% down, obviously from that every 1% down, they have to notify, and then below 3%, they don't have to notify. Okay, but that's where they were 9.3. That's where they are. But like I said, look at 7 and look at 8, and you can do your own math if you want to try and work it out. Sometimes, if you question how much they've got, look at how many shares they have here, divided by that, work out the percentage of that. It should equal this here, all right, or this, and that's it. So I hope that right. So boxes here. So this is before. This is the currently resulting situation. I mean, where they are now, basically after they sold. This is the previous one. All right. So this is the important one where they are now, I suppose, the resulting one. Okay, 7, top level this year. So this one here is probably the most important to look at of all the boxes. Where are they now? How much do they hold now? And where were they before? That will tell you whether they're buying or selling. If this number here, of course, is lower than this number, then they're pretty much selling shares. All right, hope that makes sense. Okay, time to look at some charts. Okay, first one, Agronomics. So this is what we look at here. So let's get these little lines and lines, shall we? I'm changing the color code to my charts because I realise I want to see. Move my head out of the way. I want to see different colors. So that's in there. So that's a bit lopsided here. Yeah. So essentially, what these relate to, these colors, are pretty oversold. What's happening here? Why have I got a thing on my phone? Oh yeah, oversold, overbought. Like I said, when it tops out over 70, it's overbought. Doesn't mean you should sell if you hold. It means you shouldn't buy any more at that level. And again, like I said, when it's down here under 30, that is overbought, oversold. I mean, and again, if you like a company and for no reason other than maybe it's the summer months and liquidity is low and people are not trading and market makers are marking things down, and you still like the story, then it's a time to start maybe slowly scaling in. All right. Let me just go to the full list so I can see what I'm looking at here. So next one is, of course, Bidstack. Let's have a look there. It's up and down, trading in a range. No excitement here, really. Come on, a bit slow, the internet here in Cancun. So look at the rise here. Lovely rise. It's trading in a range, like I said. Look at these levels here. Like I said, these levels, I mean, check out my previous video on relative strength index to see where things are. But like I said, down here, it's overbought here. It's coming at 50 is the middle marker, pretty much, okay? To move, it has to get up or below that level. Above 60 here, it's already go. That's where the party starts. When it comes down here, like I said, good momentum. Even if we had no news for a while here, official news, exciting news here, it's still trading in this range, you see? It's this range of 32, 27. All right, still in the range. So not a lot happening. We don't see a breakout above that 32, really. That's when the RSI will start picking up above 60 to really get it to move. Like James has said, Q3, load up, lock and load. Q4, time for war. You know what I'm saying? Okay, next one is Immo. Look at this one here. Immo, right, Immotion. And now oversold on the RSI. Look at that down there. Below 30. They're now at 28. One thing that's below that level here. That should be up there. So that should be really there, I suppose. Oh yeah, so is that there? Yeah, support there. Just below that. So that is now oversold. I would wait for it to come back because it can be oversold for a long time. So the lesson you must learn. Don't just buy a company because it's oversold. All right? It can go oversold for longer than you can stay liquid. So what you need to do is wait for an uptick of news to make sure the selling has stopped, the downtrend has stopped. Make sure it starts coming up. Momentum is a strong thing, both ways. If momentum's going down, it can keep getting down, get pushed down. So make sure that momentum changes to goes upwards then, and then you can start buying into the momentum, ride the wave. You have to have a wave to ride it. You can't just, it's like trying to surf against a wave. Pointless. You've got to wait for the wave. Wait for the wave. Join. Go with it. That's what you need to do. Wait for the wave. Okay, what's next here? Quickly. Skin, again. Some good news coming out. But yet, look at it. Again, it's low. It's coming down. Oh, it's below that level. It's getting into towards. Oh, what at that? This is one of the lowest it's been. Look at the chart. This is summer. Look, this is what happens in summer. Look at that. It hasn't been this low since when? Since back before May. In fact, it's lower than that. No, it hasn't. Wow. Do you know what? Look at that. Hasn't been this low since November 2018. That's where we are now. The weakness on the share price here. That's summer months for you. That's low liquidity. That's going away in May. Coming back in St. Ledger Day. Okay, Nuformix again. Taking a bit of a... I'm going to start scaling back into this company. And Skin as well. As soon as I see that momentum changing in the right direction, I can start scaling back in. Again, in the lower level, look, they're heading towards oversold. Down below 40. And it was almost double this price of that. It's 15 pence pretty much. It's now 8.6, 8.16. So it's getting towards oversold. There's some bargains out here. These are good companies. These are good companies that can be bought up here. Open Orphan, again. Another one, not much news of late. I've just started putting things on this. It's just below that 50 level, which means weakness is on the negative side. Needing news. All these companies are quite like, of course I do own stock in them. Why? I don't know why I'm saying that's ridiculous to say. I should more than quite like them. That's Polarean. I just talked about this. Again, it's come up here, 23. It's coming back. It's not as oversold as the other lot, but nevertheless, it's below 50. All these stocks, a while back, all these stocks were overheating, and now they're cooling down. And that shares you, buy when they've cooled. There's a big wedge pattern here. Look at this. That keeps trying to break out lower, and sooner or later it'll break out either below or above. I'm hoping it'll break above with good news, But again, it's getting towards below 50, it's at 42. All these companies, all of them, are suffering, are melting away in the heat. Okay, look at that. That's safe stay. All the moving averages are crossing up. That is a golden cross, safe stay. But yet we've had a bit of a pullback. I believe when they release the new news of a new hostel, it'll start to fly again, because that's £1 million to the top line every time they acquire a hostel. Check out their website, see how smart their hostels are. Very impressive. Waite Education. We're here, man. We're education, man. In the Newcastle online education platform. Not Newcastle, right? Wales, actually. So in the River Wey, I think. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Again, Golden Cross. Way's had a bit of a nice little rally of late. It bounced off these levels, look. Go here, and it's picked back up. Nice bit of support, found around 8.5. I did top up here. And now it's punching back up, which is quite nice. It'd be nice to see it attack those previous highs. And last one is, of course, Xeros Energy. Yeah, not a lot really happening. Let's be honest, it hasn't gone this high. When's the last time it hit this high? I think it was when I was in Centre Parks a while back. But it took up above there and nearly hit 70. But it's above these moving averages. It hasn't done that for a while. It hasn't been above 50 for a long time, really. It's hitting its head on the 125 moving average. If it gets above that, that's promising. And I think if they release another decent sort of contract, which I think they could do, regulatory reforms on their side, water scarcity, microplastics, that's what they're in. That's their tech. And they're the best in the game at it. So Xeros. That's the charts. Hope that helped. Any questions, don't forget, put them below. I'll try and get back to you in between 10-hour flight. 10-hour flight from Cancun to home. That's ridiculous. And I realised, I put that in perspective when I said to the guys, I said to the boys, I said, listen, essentially, have you ever sat in your chair in the living room, right, from 9 in the morning till 7 at night, just switching channels and getting someone to bring you food in? Because that's what it's like on a plane, 10 hours. with obviously with 300 people in your living room using your toilet and stuff. That's annoying, isn't it? Okay, that's it. Time to look at my individual stock performance. They're dropping a bit, like there's a summer illiquidity. People are selling, the bigots selling, but Bidstack's at the top there, 352%. I sold big this 230. Nuformix 150, Integumen 134, Waite Education 25, Agronomics 22, Open Orphan 13. Polarean -2, Safety -2.5, 2.5, both -5. Powerhouse -4.7, Immotion -7.6, and Zeros -8%. All right, and my portfolio performance over the last 3, 6, 12, 18 months are 81% up, 3 months. Last 6 months, 105%. Last 12 months, 134%. Last 18 months, 174%. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. My last one from Cancun, and I've had enough holiday. Too much for a good thing, to be honest. Too much eating, too much drinking, all that stuff. But next one will be back home, where I hope to have more energy, and hopefully the weather will calm down there, because I understand it's hotter than it is over here at the moment. But if you like this video, then by all means, don't forget, subscribe, all right? Then hit that notification bell. You have to do both to get notified. Otherwise, you won't get notified when I release a video. And also, like I said, any company I mentioned, any company chart I mentioned, I own stock in the company, but I've previously done more in-depth videos on these. Just check below the video to show more, little two words that expand the video. You see lots of links to those previous videos. All right. Hope that's it. On the right there, you can see you can now subscribe by my head there, face, and look at some of the videos there. All right. Thanks very much. Speak soon.